At the end of 2018, to celebrate the, at the time, upcoming release of RE2 2019, I made a video cataloging all of the times Capcom recreated iconic Resident Evil 2 locations and events in their RE side games and spin-offs. I found that basically all of RE298 was remade long before an actual official RE2 remake ever existed. I thought it was super interesting seeing these different genres' takes on these iconic moments. With the recent news of Resident Evil 3 getting its very own modern reimagining, I thought to myself, hey, RE3's also been basically fully remade inside games as well. While playing through a bunch of games recently, I found some genuinely interesting things about how some of these side games recreated specific moments in RE399 that you're gonna want to see. Some are great, some are absolutely terrible. Like last time, this video will go over everything found in RE399 through these other games. I won't be spoiling things too heavily, and I think you should be okay watching this video if you haven't played any of these side games. So without further ado, let's take a look at every other time Resident Evil 3 was remade. Our first RE3 recreations come in Resident Evil Outbreak File 1. Like in Below Freezing Point, Outbreak once again takes a classic environment from RE3 and shows you way more of it. In the scenario, the Hive. The Hive takes place in Raccoon City Hospital, and guys, the atmosphere in this level is downright amazing. This time, while trekking through the quiet halls of the hospital, we basically get to see the entire building, from its multiple basement levels to its roof, to its beautifully modeled waiting rooms, and of course, all of the fantastically recreated rooms that Carlos ran through back in 1999. From a gameplay perspective, the goal of the Hive is very different from Carlos's original visit. This time, the survivors of Outbreak are trapped in the hospital looking for a way out. With a horde of zombies at the front door, we quickly find that the best way in making our escape comes through the underground sewer channel just below the building. Like in RE3, the basic enemies here are zombies, but hunters don't make an appearance this time. Instead, we're faced with this game's unique pursuer enemy, the Leechman. Unlike RE0, the Leechman here is made up of realistic-looking leeches, not those stylized anime-looking ones. The Leechman is actually very persistent. He can follow you into all but 2 save rooms in the hospital. The coolest thing about dealing with Leechman is that because we're in a hospital, we can find and use blood bags to distract the monster. So if this guy is all in your face, you can safely bypass him by placing down one of these juicy treats for him. Eventually, we find a temperature-controlled laboratory where we use a blood bag to lure the creature in and fry him using the room's heated temperature. The scenario ends with our group of survivors taking on a gigantic queen leech and escaping through the building's underpass. To be continued. It probably won't come as a surprise, but I think this level recreation is so good. Outbreak does an excellent job at taking moments from RE2 and 3 and expanding on them in the most meaningful ways possible. We're not just quickly running through the exact events that Carlos experienced, but exploring the entire building, getting to see so much more with these new rooms. Without a doubt, Outbreak gets an A+ from me. While we're speaking about this wonderful little game, Outbreak's ending cutscene is also a recreation of RE3's explosive finale. Upon getting the best ending, you get to see your character escaping the city via helicopter as the nukes decimate the lowly Midwestern town. I thought I'd just throw this one in because it's a pretty important event in RE3's history. But yeah, that'll be all for Outbreak today. It's a fantastic game. If you haven't experienced it, go play it. Up next, we have a full game retelling with Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles, and its 3-part scenario, Raccoon's Destruction. This recreation starts off with one of the most baffling cutscenes of Jill using dem thighs to break a zombie's neck after running out of ammo. Then, of course, having to be saved by Carlos. We're already off to a bad start, so as you play through UC's RE3 levels, you'll very quickly figure out that none of what you're playing through is related to RE3, except for the final part of the scenario. That's because instead of actually remaking the classic Raccoon City environments for this game, the developers decided to save time and just reuse Outbreak's levels to retell the events of RE3, which, by the way, if you know Outbreak, that'd be really difficult to accomplish. Look at that, there's the outside of Jack's bar from File 1, and here's the back streets and canal from that same chapter. Hey, there's the Apple Inn, shoutouts to Hellfire. You even fight the giant worm in that large open street area from the end of Outbreak's first level. No epic battle with it in a destroyed graveyard in this game. In the second part, we explore all of the Underbelly chapter from Outbreak File 2, which ends so unceremoniously, with you taking on like 10 hunters one after another, walking in a circle, and then the level just ends. Why did they think this was okay? By the way, Nemesis, you know that extremely famous monster man that was basically the focus of RE3? Well, he doesn't show up until the last 20 minutes of this scenario. In Part 3, we explore the exact RPD from Desperate Times in Outbreak File 2. And here is where we get possibly the worst version of Nemesis. Why does he sound like a robot? Seriously, all of this is just terrible. After running through basically all of Desperate Times and absolutely wrecking Nemesis every time he shows up, he finally gets his signature rocket launcher and doesn't really do much with it. I can't believe how lame this version of Nemi is. He just awkwardly walks around waiting for you to pump him full of lead so he can take a knee for a few minutes. Nothing about this cheap imitation is threatening at all. The end of the scenario takes place on the RPD's rooftop, where we fight a further mutated version of Nemesis. Here the monster uses his arm tentacles to unfairly hit you in a broken multi-hit combo that you cannot counter in single player. It's really stupid. Nemesis also runs along the roof with this weird janky right angle turning animation. It looks so bad. After you drain Nemi's HP, he falls off the roof, and that's it. No railgun, no blobby monster, no giving anyone stars, just falling off a roof. So yeah, UC's retelling of events is terrible. None of it makes any sense within the context of Resident Evil 3, and it's just kind of boring, especially if you compare it to the game's RE1 and RE0 recreations. We don't even get locations like the Clock Tower or Dead Factory. It's such a missed opportunity. Inaccuracies aside, if you look back at Resident Evil side games from this time period, you'll find that Capcom itself wasn't very nice to Jill Valentine. She gets an extremely awkward and out-of-character cutscene in this particular game, and there's this very weird pachinko machine based on RE1 where Jill is wearing her RE3 outfit for some reason. She just gets wrecked constantly in this trailer, and her clothes even rip too. It's so bizarre. Like, I don't care about nudity or sexuality in my games, but it really feels like whoever was in charge at the time saw Jill's RE3 design and came up with these weird creepo cutscenes for her. These things right here are not Resident Evil. Whenever I think about Umbrella Chronicles, that cutscene and the pachinko shenanigans always pop into my mind. So UC overall is tainted in this weird way for me. It's not only a massive disappointment in the RE3 recreation department, but also a good representation of Capcom's at-the-time work ethic, poor decision-making, and a weird disrespectfulness to the character that started the series. Anyway, UC is pretty bad, and one day I'll make a full video about it. I guess if I had to talk about something I really enjoy about UC, it'd be the amount of files you can earn expanding on and even explaining parts of the lore previously shrouded in mystery. As much as I like reading this stuff, I'd love to listen to it. Well, thankfully, I have Audible. Audible is an audiobook service by Amazon. With Audible, you've got a large selection of audiobooks right at your fingertips. Not only can you listen to audiobooks anytime you want, but you can take them with you on the go. Audible is compatible with any portable device that supports its app. It's really convenient. On Audible, you can do things like sharing an audiobook with a friend who doesn't have the service yet, and they can still listen to that specific audiobook for free, which is really awesome. If you're listening to a longer audiobook, you can make the experience go a bit quicker thanks to a variety of speed control options. You can listen and experience the content at your own pace. Also, the best thing about Audible is that any audiobooks you purchase, you can keep even if you decide to cancel the service later. Now that's the right way to do digital content. If you're interested in Audible, please check out my link in the description, audible.com/spherehunter, or you can text SphereHunter to 500-500, where you can get a free audiobook, 2 free exclusive Audible originals, and a 30-day free trial to the service. I've actually been listening to Stephen King's The Outsider, which came out in 2018. It's a weird political horror story, and I think it's really interesting. Once again, that's audible.com/spherehunter, or you can text SphereHunter to 500-500 to start your 30-day free trial, get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals. Our next batch of surprisingly accurate RE3 callbacks comes from a game many people think is terrible, and that's Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Say what you want about ORC's half-baked, unpolished gameplay, its story and love for its source material is immense, to say the least. So pretty much every location featured in RE3 makes an appearance in this title, through its Wolfpack and Spec Ops campaigns. The first area expansion we experience in ORC is Raccoon City Hall. So in the original game, we quickly run past City Hall and grab a key item from a statue that we use later on in the game. We only get to see City Hall from outside, but in ORC we get to fully explore the building. And yeah, there's a lot to see here. While I think this level goes on for a little too long, and a lot of the rooms are very samey, it feels like a real building that you'd find in a sprawling metropolis. The countless statues of past city officials and plethora of offices and other rooms like the bathroom and the records room make this place feel believable. It's an interesting addition to RE lore, getting to actually see this place in great detail. As you explore Raccoon City, we get to explore another full recreation of the Raccoon City Hospital. This time it looks very different, but it also shares Outbreak's goal of showing you more of this iconic location. In the hospital, Wolfpack discovers Nikolai and his evil supervisor plans. We even get to see the hospital's destruction from a brand new angle, and have to escape the burning building while dodging a pack of angry hunters. It's really cool thinking about Carlos making his desperate break from this building just for us to do that exact same thing right after he escapes. After making our way out of the burning building, we find ourselves in the courtyard of RE3's Chapel Clock Tower. In this sniper boss fight with Nikolai, we explore a very accurate-looking recreation of RE3's clock tower area. Heading inside, we even get to see where infected Jill rests during the events of RE3. Everything's here, including the open window area and piano just outside the main hall. It's a blink and you'll miss it area, but I absolutely love this speed walk down memory lane. In the next chapter, we have to get Nemesis back under Umbrella's control by injecting him with a parasite. In this level, we battle both a T-103 and Nemi himself. And while the boss fight isn't the best, it's really cool owning Nemesis in this awesome way and then getting him back under your control. You just feel very powerful on the side of Umbrella. By the way, Nemesis's voice is also very bad in this game. Why is this so difficult? Just reuse that original sound file. In Wolfpack's final mission, we get to see a very expanded version of Lonsdale Yard. Now, once again, Lonsdale Yard was a place you just ran by in the original RE3. So there's actually some debate I've encountered with friends of mine online whether or not the area where the cable car resides is Lonsdale Yard, because the sign right outside of this area says Lonsdale Yard. It's kinda weird, but in ORC, it's very much a traditional train yard. This is the level where you'd eventually face off or side with Leon for the final battle. Not too much to talk about besides how different all of this looks compared to the original RE3. In the downloadable Spec Ops storyline, the first mission sees the team's arrival in Raccoon City, and right out of the gate, they're witness to a pretty badass scene outside of the RPD. From here, you have to assist and escape with the legendary STARS member. Hey, look at that, a side game that isn't making a mockery of my favorite character. This section of the game goes by pretty quick, but it's a much better boss encounter with Nemesis, and the escape with Jill is very exciting. Jill looks a little funky in this game, but admittedly, all the main characters do as well. ORC's final RE3 callback happens in the second to last chapter in the Spec Ops story with the mission, The Places We're Meant to Die. In this level, the Spec Ops team have to enter the Dead Factory. For those of you who have forgotten or aren't familiar with this location, this is the place where Jill has her final confrontation with Nemesis, and where she finally has her last escape. In the room where Jill has her final encounter with Nemi, you can see the bodies of soldiers and multiple dead T-103s scattered throughout the area. including a fully activated super tyrant. For years, people have speculated how this battle went down, and what that giant rail cannon was doing just sitting there. Well, ORC wants to give you an answer through an amazing boss fight where the Spec Ops team have to take all of those Mr. X tyrants down. I bet the title of this mission makes more sense to you now. The Places We're Meant to Die. It's a what-if scenario. This is the most hype moment in this game for me. The constant barrage and assault of T-103s creates a desperately hopeless atmosphere. You'll be thinking, how am I gonna get through this, as one tyrant after another drops in to say, hey, ready to die? After waiting some time, the US government drops in the rail cannon from RE3, and it helps you fight off the tyrants. It's so cool. The music in this battle does such a great job at heightening the tension of this scene as well, using an operatic choir to evoke the original battle with Super Tyrant and RE2. For how busted ORC is, the nostalgic fanservice callbacks are a shining beacon of light in this janky mess of a game, and is the biggest reason why I actually quite like this title. Even if everyone hates you, ORC, you still get a B+ from me. Good job on your recreations. So all of that was really fun, right? Turns out ORC loves RE3 just as much as I do. Okay, now that we have all that positivity nonsense out of the way, let's talk about Resident Evil Apocalypse. Yeah, I wasn't going to include this one originally, but it's technically an RE3 recreation, just in movie form, right? So Apocalypse actually starts pretty good. There's a lot of buildup that is very reminiscent of RE3. We get a few nice vignettes of the city in chaos. We get a terrible Carlos introduction where he is literally a superhero, and we get a somewhat accurate scene of Jill gearing up at a very different looking RPD. By the way, Sienna Guillory is like perfect casting for Jill Valentine. This babe just became Jill for this movie. How unfortunate. There's a lot of really good atmosphere with Jill and her ragtag group of survivors in the first 25 minutes of this movie. There's a great scene taking place in a cathedral where Jill is investigating this old dark gothic building. It feels a lot like the clock tower section of RE3. Jill and her group are inevitably attacked by a few lickers. The scene steadily escalates with tension. It's actually pretty good. It feels very Resident Evil. See, Jill's about to give those lickers stars. Oh my god. Holy crap. I'm sorry, Jill dual-wielding a Magnum and a 45? I think we've just witnessed the greatest thing of all time.
Move!
Ugh. Yeah, so basically every scene in this movie where Jill is about to do anything cool, she's either interrupted or overshadowed by this film's main character, Alice, aka my wife is my best friend. It's really crappy. Like, there's this one scene later in the movie where Jill is rescuing Sherry Birkin, Angie? Whatever. Jill literally stealth kills a zombie. Then takes out a few dogs before turning on the kitchen's gas, lights a match, and throws it back into the kitchen, only for the match to depressingly burn out. Don't worry though, Deus Ex Alice is here to save the day. It's terrible. Just let Jill do something cool, you annoying shoehorn. Anyway. Oh look, it's the Raccoon City Cemetery. The characters are planning what to do with their infected ally. That's pretty survival horror, right? Wait, why is Alice explaining to Jill what happens when a person is infected? Didn't the mansion incident happen? Oh wait, never mind. We need more hand-to-hand combat in this scene. Oh my god, look, it's the cable car. That's so cool. This movie has its moments, but they're all quickly put to the wayside for a dumb action scene, or to have Alice tell the other characters they're wrong about everything they're saying, and then she explains exactly what's going on. It sucks. Also, Nikolai is in this movie and gets killed by 2 zombie dogs. Alright, I guess. This movie has endless problems. Like, Nemesis isn't even Jill's rival. He's Alice's love interest. Good guy Nemi. Why are they fist fighting? What is this, Mortal Kombat? Okay, we gotta stop talking about this movie. Maybe I'll make a video on it at some point. For now, I just need to erase it from my mind. Except for Jill, she's attractive. Oh yeah, bad recreation. Those are all of the RE3 recreations I was able to find. Obviously, Outbreak stands out as the best tribute in my opinion. A nice, tasteful callback to an iconic RE3 locale, while also being its own fully realized level. As much as I love the fan service ORC provides, it is basically like a member berries festival in a lot of ways, but I still really enjoy it. Besides full side and spin-off games, Jill's classic RE3 outfit and Nemesis himself have appeared in other games like Remake, Mercenaries 3D, a plethora of mobile card games, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and of course, everyone's favorite, We Love Golf. I'm serious. Seeing all of these past renditions of classic RE3 environments just has me even more excited to play the real remake releasing in just about a month. I honestly can't believe it. RE2R wasn't completely faithful, location-wise, to its original counterpart, and I imagine 3R will probably be the same, either completely reimagining a lot of what the original game brought us back in '99, or sadly cutting things outright. Rest in peace, Marshalling Yard. How I loved you so. With that being said, I'm still very hyped to explore a version of Raccoon City remade in the RE engine. And based on the trailers we've gotten, it seems like RE3 2020 will be taking a few notes from some of the games we talked about today. Whatever the future may hold, I can't wait to experience it. We do it once again. Hello friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun going through some of these games again. Even if I hated some of the experiences, I still had a good time laughing at how bad they were. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and checking out my Patreon link down in the description. I just want to give some community shoutouts before we wrap up today's video. First shoutout goes to Crimson Head Elder. If you're unaware, CHE is a RE fan network. They do cool podcasts, get RE voice actors to join them in streams, and they actually have Remake's Chris Redfield, Joe White on their team, which is really fun. Next up, I want to show some love to the Resident Evil podcast. So this podcast is formerly Project Umbrella. If you haven't heard of them yet, you should. Each member of this particular podcast is extremely knowledgeable about RE lore in a very chill way. They do episodes where they sort of make retrospective style videos like me, but in audio form. It's really cool playing whichever game they're talking about alongside the podcast. Please go check them out. Finally, I want to shout out my friend, Sunny Bauer, who helped me compile a list of everything we talked about in today's video. Please check out Sunny's channel here on YouTube. He makes these fun edits of Resident Evil moments, sometimes making them even more accurate than they were originally. He even removed Alice from the kitchen scene in RE Apocalypse and made Jill actually do something cool for once. So yeah, Sunny, thank you for your help, and I really appreciate all that you do. Everyone's links will be down in the description. Be sure to check them all out. Anyway, guys, that's all for me today. Thank you very much to Audible for sponsoring this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Later. I just realized something. I'm gonna have to cover every Resident Evil movie at some point.